Hello, everyone. So today we're going to continue the summary of Discover Canada book for the citizenship exam. And before we start, I just would like to remind you that you can buy the summary as a PDF from the link under the video. So some people actually like to have some notes on paper. And at the same time, if you buy the summary, you can have 1 hour live session with me at any time. You can just contact me through the YouTube channel and we can arrange a 1 hour live session if you have any questions or some parts which need more explanation. Okay, so today we are going to continue with the modern Canada part, modern Canada, and we divided this part into 5 categories. First one will be social assistance programs. Second one will be this number 1. Second one will be international engagements. Number 3 will be sport heroes, and number 4 will be invention and discoveries. And finally, number 5 will be Canada and Quebec. We'll start with the social assistance program, which Canadian can benefit from. And the first one will be the Canada Health Act. And through the Canada Health Act, you will have your health insurance. So you are covered if you go to the hospital, you go to the family doctor, you don't pay any money. So this is actually provides a standard basic of coverage. And this is actually introduced in the Canadian Constitution. And some stuff are not covered under this, like for example, vision or medicine. But if you are working, maybe the workplace will give you additional coverage, which will cover everything. Okay. Second one will be unemployment insurance, and now called employment insurance. So if you are employed and then became unemployed, the government will start paying you some money. And this one has been introduced in 1940, and this date is important. It can come in the multiple choice questions. So you can have a question like this: the unemployment or employment insurance has been introduced in, and then you have multiple choice, and the right answer will be 1940. Third program will be old age security, which is for old people, and this one has been introduced in 1927. Another benefit also for retirement is the pension plans, which is Canada and Quebec pension plan, which introduced in 1965, and this is also an important date. And the last assistance program, which we would like to speak today, is about the public funded education. So the province and the federal government provide free education from KG until the end of high school. So this is totally free. You don't have to pay any money for this. And this is provided under the public funded education assistance program. Okay. And even for university, you can have some assistance program like OSAP, which can give you some fund. Okay. Second category today we are going to speak about is international engagement, and Canada has several international engagement. We just the book just speak about a couple of them. First one will be Canada joined the West to form a military alliance, and this is called North Atlantic Treaty Organization, which is NATO, and this is for a shared defense between different countries in the NATO organization, which is North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Okay. Next agreement will be another military alliance with US, is the North America Aerospace Defense Command, which is NORAD. And this will actually special agreement between USA and Canada. Okay. And last but not least, Canada joined the United Nations and participated in defending South Korea in the Korean War between 1950 and 1953. And the United Nations actually also includes some countries from Europe, besides USA and Canada. Okay, some important information here we have to mention, which is usually come in the questions. That Toronto is the Canada financial capital. So the main manufacturing place is Ontario, and Toronto is the capital of Ontario, and Toronto is considered as the Canada's financial capital. So the capital of Canada is Ottawa, but the financial capital, which is the one for the financial agreements and all the stuff, is Toronto. Okay. Also, the last Asian descent Japanese, the Japanese people were actually prohibited from voting, and in 1948 they gained the right to vote again in elections. Okay, and also Aboriginal people gained the right to vote in 1960. So 1960 also is an important date, can come in the question. So the question will be Aboriginal people gained the right to vote in, and then you will have multiple choice, and the right answer will be 1960. Okay. Third part, we speak about the sport heroes, and an interesting fact that basketball was invented by a Canadian called James Naismith, in 1891. I don't think the date is important, but this, you should remember the name, the last name, which is Naismith, and actually the basketball is a Canadian sport. Okay. Next one is 1996. Donovan Bailey, or we just care about Bailey, the last name, as I said before, became a world record sprinter with gold medal. Okay, and next will be Chantal Petitclerc as a world champion wheelchair racer. This is another sport here in Canada, and Gretzky is one of the greatest hockey players of all the time, and we know that hockey is very the most famous sport in Canada. That's why maybe this name is also important. So just remember, there's the most greatest hockey player of all the time is Gretzky. Okay, we have also two heroes here, which is not usually they come in the questions. The first one is Terry Fox. Second one is Hansen. So Terry Fox and Hansen. Terry Fox actually began something called a cross-country run, the Marathon of Hope, which is called the Marathon of Hope, to raise money for cancer research. So he was actually having cancer, and he tried to make a cross-country run, which is called the Marathon of Hope, to collect or to raise money for the cancer research. Unfortunately, he died before completing this race. But every year we remember Terry Fox, and we donate money for the cancer research. Okay. Second person will be Rick Hansen, and Rick Hansen has he was a handicapped person, so actually he circled the globe in a wheelchair to raise funds for spinal cord research, because he has a problem in his spinal cord, and he tried to raise money for the spinal cord research. Okay. The last sport here we speak about is 1972, which is Paul Henderson, and he scored a winning ice hockey goal, and this goal is called the goal heard around the world, the most famous goal around the world in ice hockey, and it was scored by Henderson. I don't think this information is very important, but if you repeat the video twice or three times, you will remember his name. So if it came in the exam, you will be able to remember and answer the question. Even if you don't even memorize it, you will just remember because the answers will be in front of you. Okay. The fourth category we're just going to speak today is invention and discoveries. And we will be surprised that many inventions we are already done in Canada. And I personally, I didn't know all this information before. So the first one is Graham Bell. And Graham Bell is he hid the idea of the telephone, and actually he is a Canadian person. Second thing is Bombardier. Bombardier, actually he invented the snowmobile, and if you remember, the snowmobile is used by Rangers, which is the Canadian forces, which protect the northern boundaries in Canada, and it has been invented by Bombardier, which is a Canadian person. Next one will be Fleming, and Fleming invented the worldwide system of standard time zone. The standard time zone we use everywhere now is done by a Canadian person called Fleming. Okay. Next will be Evans and Woodward, and both of them they invented the first electric light bulb. So the first electric light bulb has been invented by two Canadians, Matthew Evans and Henry Woodward. Okay. This next person will be Fessenden, Reginald Fessenden, and he contributed to the invention of the radio, sending the first wireless voice message. And just remember, sending and Fessenden, it is a German name, but he is a Canadian person. So from the send here and the send, you just remember he is the person who is responsible for sending the first wireless voice message, and he contributed to the invention of the radio signals. Okay. Next person will be Benfield, and Benfield is a brain surgeon, and he was known as the greatest living Canadian to his contribution in the brain surgery and brain science, and he's called Benfield. Okay. Next will be Hobbs, John Hobbs, and he invented the first cardiac pacemaker, which just regulates the heartbeat. And this was done by a Canadian person, also Hobbs. And there's another invention which is very important coming in a few seconds. But the next one we are going to speak about is Spar Aerospace, and this is a Canadian company that invented something called Canadarm from Canadarm. It is called Canadarm. It is a space robotic arm used in the space research, and that was invented by Spar Aerospace, a Canadian company. Okay. or Canadian Research Center. Next will be very important invention. No, the last one will be the very, but next will be another communication-based invention, which is mobile communication or mobile wireless communication, which is done by Jim Palizelli and Lazardis, Mike Lazardis, and he invented the BlackBerry. So there is a lot of mobile phone like trends or marks like for iPhone, Android, and all the stuff. But the thing which has been invented in Canada is called BlackBerry. BlackBerry. It is not well known today, but it was well known like a couple of years ago. Okay. And last and the most important invention, which I think is a very important invention for the humankind, is for sure the insulin, which has insulin, which treats diabetes and has saved more than 16 million lives worldwide. It is even more now. This is actually information from 2012, I think, but now they are even much more than this number. And it has been invented by two Canadians, Frederick Panting and Charles Best. And remember, just 2B, 2B for book, Panting and Best. Okay. The last part for about modern Canada will be the relation between Canada and Quebec. And Quebec experienced an era of rapid change, and this was in 1960s, and it was known as a quiet revolution. And this is a common question, especially for people living in Quebec. They would say there is a rapid change period for Quebec, and it is cold. And the right answer for sure will be quiet revolution. And you also have to know it was done in 1960s. Canada tried to like accommodate the French-speaking people, which is a minority, by the Official Language Act, which has been introduced in 1969. That guarantees that French and English government the French and English language will be has the same rights in the government, and all the service in the government service are provided in two languages, in the English and French language. That's why actually, if you can speak both English and French, you will be able to find quickly a job especially in government service. Okay. In 1970, Canada helped found something called La Francophonie, an international association of French-speaking countries. Okay. Another act which also has been introduced to help to accommodate Quebec and French-speaking people is the Quebec Act, which allows the religion freedom for Catholics and also permitted them to hold a public office. And we already mentioned this in the history part, and that was done in 1974. Okay, Quebec tried to just be as its own has its own country to just separate from Canada, and they have two referendums conducted to separate Quebec from Canada. One done is 1980, the other one is 1995, and the two referendums has been defeated, and the Quebecers decided to continue as a part of the Canada and don't have their own country. And actually, I think in 2006, Canada government said Quebec has no right to do any more referendums because two already has been defeated, and Quebec should remain as part of Canada. Okay, so that's all for the modern Canada part, and next time we're going to speak about how Canadians govern themselves. Please, if you have any questions or you would like to get more information, just please post your questions under the video. I hope if you like what we do, to subscribe to the channel and share the videos with your friends. I hope this will be helpful for your exam, and see you next time, and have a good day. Bye-bye.